You ever get that strange feeling that someone is watching you? Like even when you are inside your own home, behind your blinds, you just know someone is keeping tabs on you. That was me. For weeks. It all started one quiet evening when I noticed my next-door neighbor, Karen, standing outside her porch with binoculars. At first, I thought she was bird watching. Cute hobby, right? Until I realized the only bird in her direction was me mowing my lawn. Now, I live in a peaceful little suburban neighborhood run by our beloved HOA. Emphasis on beloved said with deep sarcasm. You know the type. They send letters if your grass is 1 inch too high, or if your trash cans are visible for more than 12 seconds after pickup. I had always managed to stay under the radar, though. Paid my fees, kept my yard clean, waved to the nosy old ladies walking their dogs. Life was fine until Karen moved in. At first, she was polite, the kind of neighbor who bakes cookies when she first moves in. I actually thought she was sweet, but that illusion lasted about 3 days. One morning, I came outside to find a bright yellow HOA violation notice taped to my mailbox. Grass exceeding acceptable height by 1.5 inches. It was signed by Karen, but wait, Karen was not even on the HOA board, or so I thought. Turns out, she had just joined, literally that week. And guess who her first project was? Yep, me. Now, I am not the type to start neighborhood wars. I just wanted peace and quiet. But Karen, she wanted control. She treated her HOA badge like it was the FBI. Every day, I caught her taking notes on a clipboard, snapping pictures of my yard, even peeking over my fence like some undercover agent. At first, I ignored her. I thought, let her play detective. She will get bored. But then things got weird. One night around 11 p.m., I took my dog outside, and I saw a red glow from behind my hedge. A camera lens. Someone was recording. My stomach dropped. I walked closer, and I heard a little gasp. And there she was. Karen crouched down. She pretended she was checking property lines at midnight with a camera. That was when I knew this was not about HOA rules anymore. This was personal. The next morning, I decided to play dumb and act friendly. I waved at her, complimented her garden, and even offered her lemonade. She smiled awkwardly, the fake kind, and said, "Oh, just keeping the neighborhood safe, right?" Because my rose bushes were such a national threat. A few days later, I received another HOA letter, this time accusing me of unauthorized exterior modifications. Apparently, the string lights in my backyard were not pre-approved. She was relentless. But here's where it gets interesting. One of my friends, Mark, happened to serve on the HOA committee. I called him up and asked if he knew anything about the complaints. He laughed and said, "Man, Karen brings your name up in every meeting. She thinks you are running some illegal business from your garage." I could not believe it. Illegal business. My illegal business was building birdhouses as a hobby. She must have seen me using my power tools and jumped straight to a spy thriller. That was when I decided to fight back, but in my own way. See, Karen loved gossip more than she loved breathing. So, I gave her something to gossip about. The next day, I set up a fake delivery to my house. A friend of mine, dressed in a black suit, dropped off a big locked metal case labeled confidential. I made sure Karen saw it. In fact, I waved at her while signing the delivery papers. That night, her lights stayed on until 2 a.m. I could almost feel her peeking through the blinds, dying to know what was inside that box. The following morning, I left the confidential box right in plain sight on my porch while pretending to talk on the phone, loud enough for her to hear me say, "Yes, the files are secured. No one can find out." By that afternoon, guess what I found? Another HOA letter. Suspicious activity on property. This woman was obsessed. But I had a plan brewing, a way to expose her spying for everyone to see. One weekend, the HOA held their monthly community barbecue. Everyone came, families, board members, even Karen, looking proud with their clipboard as usual. I waited until the moment was right. When the HOA president started his speech about neighborhood trust, I raised my hand and said, "Speaking of trust, I think we need to discuss privacy." You could feel the air change. I said, because someone in this community has been recording other residents without permission. Karen froze. I pulled out my phone and showed everyone the footage from my new security cameras. Yes, the ones I had installed after catching her before. On screen, there she was, clearly visible, crouching near my hedge with her camera in hand, gasps, whispering. Everyone stared at her. Her face turned red. "That is taken out of context," she stammered. "Really?" I said. "Then maybe you can explain why you were checking property lines at midnight." The HOA president looked furious. He said, This behavior violates privacy laws and HOA ethics. Karen, we will be discussing your membership immediately. Karen stormed off without a word. And me, I just smiled, sipped my lemonade, and said to Mark, she thought she could outsmart me. He laughed. Guess the spy got spied on that night. For the first time in weeks, I sat on my porch with my dog, feeling that rare peace again. No binoculars, no hidden cameras, just quiet. But just before I went inside, I noticed a small envelope taped to my door. It read, "This is not over." I chuckled. "Oh, Karen," I said, "it already is." After that barbecue incident, the entire neighborhood started treating Karen differently. People who once waved at her now avoided eye contact. The HOA president even suspended her committee privileges until further notice. For a few days, it felt like justice had been served. I finally had my privacy back. I could mow my lawn without feeling like someone was aiming a laser at me from the blinds. But peace in an HOA neighborhood never lasts long. 3 days later, at 6:30 in the morning, I woke up to loud banging on my door. I opened it to find a city inspector standing there with a clipboard. "Morning, sir. We received an anonymous complaint about unlicensed construction work happening on your property." I blinked. "What? Construction? There is no construction here." He frowned and looked at his paper. "Are you sure?" The complaint included photos. He showed me printed pictures, blurry shots of my garage, my tools, and that fake confidential case from last week. That was it. Karen had officially declared war. I sighed, led him to the garage, and opened the door. "See bird houses? That is all." He looked around, nodded, and said, "Yeah, this is fine. Someone is wasting my time." I smiled. "Tell me about it." As soon as he left, I stepped outside and looked toward Karen's house. Her curtains twitched. She was watching again, so I waved at her. Then I pulled out my phone, smiled, and said loud enough for her to hear, "Guess I should file my own complaint, huh?" That little act must have gotten under her skin, because the very next day, I received another HOA notice. This time, it accused me of having an unapproved mailbox design. She was reaching for anything she could find. But instead of getting angry, I decided to turn this into a game. If she wanted to spy, I would give her a show worth watching. That afternoon, I set up a large cardboard sign in my yard that said, "Under surveillance. Smile, Karen." The best part, I placed a small motion-activated sprinkler right under it. So, every time she tried to sneak over to take a photo, the sensor went off, and a jet of water sprayed straight toward her fence. That evening, I watched from my porch as she tried to sneak up, phone in hand, and whoosh, the sprinkler hit her square in the face. She screamed and ran back inside. I nearly fell off my chair laughing, but of course, she did not take that lightly. The following week, I came home from work to find something strange. My trash cans were turned upside down, my lawn chairs were knocked over, and my security camera cable had been unplugged. It was clear someone had been on my property. I checked the footage from my backup camera, and there she was again, wearing a hoodie this time, sneaking through the bushes. This had gone too far. I took that footage straight to the HOA board, the same board she had once proudly ruled. During the next meeting, I stood up, calm as ever, and said, "I believe a certain member of our community is trespassing on private property." Everyone turned toward me. I connected my phone to the projector and played the video. Gasps filled the room. Karen, sitting in the corner, looked like she had swallowed a lemon. "That is fake," she blurted out. "He edited that." The HOA president, Mr. Reed, frowned. "Karen, that looks like you. Are you denying this?" "I was checking for code violations," she stammered. "At midnight?" I asked. Silence, the president sighed. "This is harassment. We cannot have this kind of behavior in our community. Karen, you are hereby removed from the HOA board, effective immediately." Everyone started whispering. Some even clapped. Karen stood up, red-faced and trembling. "This is not over. He is lying. He has been plotting against me." I just smiled and said, "If I am plotting, I am doing a great job." The meeting ended, and I thought that was the end of it. But Karen was not someone who gave up easily. She disappeared for 2 whole weeks. Her car was gone, her blinds were closed, and her mailbox overflowed with letters. I actually started wondering if she had moved out. Then one night, as I was grilling in my backyard, I heard a faint click. It was the sound of a camera shutter. I turned around. Nothing, just shadows. Then another click. I grabbed my flashlight and walked toward the sound. My heart was racing. I pushed through the bushes, and there, behind the fence, was a drone hovering silently in the air. It had a camera. And guess whose initials were printed on the side in black marker? KRI actually laughed out loud. She had upgraded her spying operation to aerial surveillance. I recorded the drone, waved at it, and said, "Nice try, Karen." Then I tossed a towel over it when it flew too close to the fence, pulled it down, and set it on my porch like a trophy. The next morning, I filed a report with the HOA and the local authorities. A few hours later, a police officer came by to collect the drone. He chuckled and said, "This lady really sent a drone into your yard. That is a new one." "Welcome to HOA life," I replied. That evening, Karen finally reappeared, storming across the street like a thundercloud. "You stole my drone," she yelled. I decided it was time for the final move, one that would end this ridiculous spy war once and for all. I started by printing every HOA violation letter she had ever sent me, all 23 of them. Then, I made copies of the drone footage, the camera photos, and the inspector complaint form. I put it all into a folder labeled Evidence of Harassment by HOA Member and hand-delivered it to Mr. Reed, the HOA president. He took one look at it and said, "Leave it with me. We will handle this." I knew that tone, the calm before the storm. For the first time since this all began, I felt genuinely relaxed. That night, as I sat on my porch sipping coffee, I saw Karen standing in her yard, staring at my house. No camera this time, no clipboard, just silent staring. I raised my cup and said, "Good evening, spy." She turned around and went back inside. I smiled. Something told me that her story was about to take a serious turn. After I gave the HOA president that folder, I expected a slow, drawn-out process, endless meetings, boring investigations, the usual HOA nonsense. But surprisingly, things moved fast. Within a week, I received an email invitation to a special community meeting. The subject line read, "Privacy and Conduct Review, Mandatory Attendance." Now, if there is one thing about HOA meetings, it is that nobody actually wants to attend them. But this one, everyone showed up. People smelled drama from a mile away. I arrived early and took a seat near the back. Karen was already there, sitting in the front row, arms crossed, wearing her usual floral blouse, except this time, she looked nervous. Her clipboard was gone. That alone felt strange. Mr. Reed, the HOA president, stood at the podium with his usual calm authority. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "This meeting will address several reports of harassment and privacy violations within our community." You could feel the air tighten, he continued, after reviewing the evidence provided by multiple homeowners. "The board has decided to take disciplinary action." I watched Karen shift uncomfortably in her chair. "Before we announce our decision," Mr. Reed said, "we would like to give both parties a chance to speak." He looked directly at Karen. She stood up, clutching her purse like a life raft. "I have done nothing wrong," she said. "Everything I did was to protect our community. This man," she pointed at me, "has been violating rules since the day I moved in. I was just documenting the proof." The room erupted in murmurs. Mr. Reed raised his hand. "Please, Mrs. Reynolds, we have reviewed the footage, the photographs, and even police records. Spying on your neighbor, trespassing, and using a drone are not part of your duties as a resident." Her face turned pale. "He framed me," she shouted. "He edited everything. He is the real troublemaker here." I calmly stood up and said, "Would you like me to play the video again?" The room chuckled. Mr. Reed nodded. "That will not be necessary. Mr. Davis, we have already seen enough." He cleared his throat. "Effective immediately, Mrs. Reynolds is banned from participating in any HOA committees, events, or meetings for 12 months. Furthermore, she will be fined for property, trespass, and privacy violations." You could almost hear the collective exhale in the room. Karen's jaw dropped. "You cannot do that." "Oh, we can," Mr. Reed said firmly. "You violated community trust." The meeting ended, and as people started to leave, a few neighbors patted me on the back, whispering things like, "Finally," and about time someone stood up to her. Karen, on the other hand, stormed out, muttering something under her breath. I thought that was the end of it, but I underestimated her. 2 days later, I noticed something odd. My mailbox flag was missing. You know, the little red metal piece that sticks up when you have mail to send. Gone. Just gone. At first, I laughed it off. Then, the next morning, I found dog poop on my front steps. not random, placed perfectly in the center. I sighed. So this is how she wants to play it. That was when I decided to end this game once and for all and have some fun doing it. I went to the hardware store, bought a brand new mailbox, and set it up the next day. But not just any mailbox. This one had a tiny motion sensor built inside. Whenever someone touched it, it triggered a mini voice recorder that played one sentence. Smile, Karen, you are on camera. It was brilliant. That evening, I sat inside, watching from my window, waiting. Around 10:45 p.m., I saw a figure creeping toward the mailbox with a flashlight. She reached out her hand and the mailbox spoke. Smile, Karen, you are on camera. She jumped so high I thought she might take flight. She dropped the flashlight, tripped over the curb, and sprinted back to her house faster than I had ever seen anyone move. I laughed so hard I nearly fell off the couch. The next morning, I saw her walking her dog, avoiding eye contact like nothing had happened. A few hours later, Mr. Reed called. So, I heard about your talking mailbox, he said, trying not to laugh. Just a little neighborhood safety upgrade, I replied. Well, he said, whatever you are doing seems to be working. Mrs. Reynolds called to withdraw all future complaints against you. Officially, I smiled. Guess she finally realized spying is bad for her health. For the next several weeks, life was peaceful. No more strange noises. No more fake complaints. No more binoculars aimed at my window. The neighborhood slowly went back to normal as an HOA neighborhood can be. Then one afternoon, I received a letter from the HOA. My heart sank for a moment. The PTSD of a violation notice never fades, but when I opened it, I burst out laughing. It was a handwritten note from Mr. Reed that said, Mr. Davis, after the events of the past month, the board has decided to recognize your creativity and patience as examples of positive conflict resolution. Consider this your official Good Neighbor Award. Keep up the humor. Attached to the note was a small golden mailbox keychain. I placed it on my shelf like a trophy. Later that evening, as the sun set, I took my dog out for a walk. As I passed Karen's house, I noticed her blinds moved slightly. She was still there, probably still curious, still watching. I looked right at her window, smiled, and gave a small wave. Then I said quietly, you thought you could outsmart me. I swear I saw the blinds fall shut instantly. That night, for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. No drones, no cameras, no HOA letters taped to my door. Just silence. And maybe, somewhere deep down, I had to admit I would kind of miss the excitement. Because as crazy as it all was, one thing was certain. In an HOA neighborhood, peace never lasts forever.